Oh, it's on us. Oh, amazing. How do we really? Oh, it's this.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome to Jewish U. Hi, John. How you doing? John, you ready for GPS for the Soul Part 2, class number 4? You ready? Okay, everybody, welcome to the last class for GPS for the Soul Part 2, streaming live on YouTube as always. And so that way people can enjoy the Torah on YouTube as well, Spotify, all these good things. So this is the last class for GPS for the Soul Part 2. So we're passing around the little handy dandy pamphlets we have over here, and we're going to get going with the last class. The title of this class today, other than being called GPS for the Soul Part 2, class number 4, is a life-changing perspective on struggles. That is the title for tonight's class, and that's what we're going to talk about. Here we have tote bags in the background, the Schlepp tote bags.
If you didn't get a bag, take one after class.
And after we learn the life-changing perspective on struggles, you'll have a whole new perspective on how to schlep the things that need schlepping in your life. And that's what we're going to do right now. So also, also a brief announcement on a personal note, that tonight in the Jewish calendar, which is the 12th day of the month of Kislev, is Tzippa and my 23rd wedding anniversary. Thank you. So yeah.
Class is sponsored by us.
So mazel tov to us. And everyone should be zeicha to also, God willing, everything in the right time, to meet your basher, to meet the one who's meant for you from Hashem and Shamayim, and to connect with that other part of your soul. It's a cliche because it's true. That's why it's a cliche, because it is true. And everyone should merit to meet that person in the right time, and to have clarity, and to merit to have the blessings of lots and lots of light in your home that shines with the light of Torah and mitzvos, God willing, everything in the right time. And the right time is sooner than later. Okay, that being said, we are going to now launch into chapter 28, which really is a direct continuation of what we've been speaking about in chapters 26 and 27 in the Tanya, which we were discussing the last 3 weeks. And today is going to be the finale for this class with this special teaching, again, titled A Life-Changing Perspective on Life's Struggles, or a life-changing perspective on struggles, life struggles, whatever. Let's go. Here we go. Now, by way of introduction, there is a saying in English, and I actually once looked it up on Google, where does the saying originate? Because it's kind of a bizarre saying. It's not a Jewish saying. It's a bizarre saying. So I once Googled it to learn more about where does it come from. The statement goes as follows: pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Have you heard that? Yeah, you're nodding. You've heard the statement before, right? Any insight what it means, or what it's supposed to mean, or what it means to you? Please.
Pulling yourself up by your bootstraps means that you're helping yourself in a very, I don't want to say isolated way, or like maybe like individualistic way, that you're not necessarily getting help from any external resources.
Internal way.
Oh yes, thank you. Internal way. I guess oftentimes the people who are survivors of like domestic abuse, domestic violence, are able to turn their lives around and get back up and start off very much pulling themselves up.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else heard this phrase, pull yourself up by your bootstraps?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on it? Anyone want to share any other thoughts about it? Okay, so I thought it was an unusual statement. I Googled it. Now, I will admit, disclaimer, I did not Google it today. This was a couple of years ago. I was curious. You know, like when you get curious about random stuff, I know I'll just Google it. Now you chat GPT it or whatever, and you Google it, then like you're down the rabbit hole, and like you're looking up things you didn't even know existed. But in any event, I Googled pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Now, I hope my memory serves me correctly. This was a few years ago, but you could double check it on Google yourself or ask ChatGPT. But actually the statement is meant to be somewhat of a mocking statement, because it's impossible to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can't picture it. You've got boots, picture the boots, and they have straps on them. Now you're going to pull yourself up. That doesn't work. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's not possible. So the phrase pull yourself up by your bootstraps was meant as if to say, Oh, come on, you could do it. Just work hard. You could do it. Haha, no, you can't. You'll never succeed. That's kind of how it was originally meant. Again, you can double check this on Google. But in any event, it's self-understood that a person cannot pull themselves up if they're stuck in themselves. That's self-understood. If I'm stuck in myself, if I'm stuck in my own way of thinking, if I'm stuck in my house, if I'm stuck wherever I'm stuck, whether it be a physical, geographical location, whether it be a spiritual or emotional location, I can't pull myself up if I'm stuck where I am. Like, I don't know if anybody ever did it. You don't have to raise your hand if you did. But like you glue a quarter to the sidewalk and see who's going to watch, try to pick up the quarter. I never did it, but it sounds like a good trick, right? You can't pick it up if it's glued to the ground. It's ridiculous. So if I am, so to speak, glued to my own place, I'm not going to pick myself up by my bootstraps or by anyone else's bootstraps. It's not going to work. So to pull myself up, I'm going to have to get out of my own limitations. I'm going to have to get out of myself and my own, whether they're self-imposed restrictions or whether they're restrictions from the outside. Moreover, a person may indeed be physically stuck somewhere, but not emotionally stuck. A person may be physically stuck somewhere, but not spiritually stuck. So there's various ways to view this, but let's take a look in chapter 28 in the Tanya. We're on in our pamphlets for the Jewish Jew pamphlets. We're on page 122 in the Hebrew and 121 in the English, chapter 28. Feel free to follow along or just to listen. Even if a person is having very inappropriate thoughts, dirty, filthy thoughts, if you will, even during moments of prayer, during moments of Torah study. Al Yashis Lev, don't worry about it. Don't focus on it. Just remove your thoughts. Stop focusing on it. Stop thinking about it. You have an inappropriate thought. Okay, fine. It happened. That's fine. Move on with life. Don't dwell on it. Now, what's going on here? So he says, furthermore, V'gam, don't be a fool and try to elevate your thought, your inappropriate, dirty, lowly thought. Don't be a fool and try to elevate it and refine it. Why not? Because when the mystics spoke about elevating thoughts, they only meant, this is an interesting concept, they only meant when it's not your thought. Because if it's your thought, then you're stuck in it. So when the mystics spoke about the concept of elevating a thought, to bring it to a source of holiness, to trace it back to its root, they were speaking about the righteous, tzaddikim, who don't have their own dirty thoughts, so to speak. They just pick up the Wi-Fi wavelengths from other people's Wi-Fi, and it's not theirs. And if it's not their thought, then they're not stuck in it. They're not limited in it. They're not glued to the floor, so to speak. As he says, the foreign thoughts that they may have, the dirty, lowly, inappropriate, embarrassing thoughts that they have, that they don't want to say out loud, are not their own. It's like when you look on your phone, you're in a hotel and it picks up the hotel's Wi-Fi. Oh, I can choose to go on the Wi-Fi or not. So a tzaddik is able to do that. The tzaddik doesn't have his own inappropriate thoughts. And I'm going to explain this, God willing, soon. However, if you do have your own dirty thoughts, inappropriate thoughts, how can you lift them up? I lost my place. How, one second, how can you elevate them if you are stuck at again, you're trying to lift yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, how high do your boots go when you try to pull them up? They go nowhere. You're stuck below. So you cannot lift yourself up if you're stuck in yourself. To give an example, imagine you go to a museum. Anybody like art museums? You like art? Yeah. Okay, good. So you go to an art museum, the MoMA, the Met, whatever it is, and you see a painting that is so realistic, like unbelievably realistic, but it's terrifying. A terrifying painting of like an attack dog, a mauling a person. And it's so realistic that you almost can't tell if it's happening in front of your eyes. And you're terrified because you're witnessing in front of you unfold a terrifying scene and you're frightened. You're overwhelmed by the image of this attack dog viciously mauling a person, God forbid, right in front of you. It's really just a painting. And you know intellectually it's a painting. So if you're so stuck in the reality of that painting that it seems almost real, you're not going to be able to evaluate it as a piece of art. Because to evaluate it as a piece of art, you have to some extent, be outside of it. But if you're in it, if you're so in it, if it's so realistic that you almost can't tell, is it happening or not, then you can't talk about the quality of the brush strokes. You can't talk about the historical background behind the painting because you're stuck in the painting, or it's like a movie that's so realistic that pulls you in with the storyline that after an hour and a half, you're so into this movie, so following the storyline that you almost forget that you're in a movie theater. You almost forget that you're watching something on the screen. You think, oh, this is what's happening. So if you're so in it, then you can't evaluate it for what it actually is. Similarly, if the thoughts are my own thoughts, then I'm so in it, I can't evaluate them for what they actually are. I can't treat them for what they are. Thoughts. It becomes my entire reality, my entire perspective. So you might have a person who is standing in shul on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year, in a holy place in shul, on Yom Kippur, and you're wearing your special Yom Kippur clothing, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, what comes into your mind? Something so coarse, so low, so filthy that you feel almost like you need a shower. So filthy, something enters your mind. Now, on Yom Kippur, I should think about this in shul, towards Ne'ilah, the Aron Kodesh is open, and this is what I'm thinking about. It's like, it's embarrassing. Couldn't I have waited till later to think about this? But no, right then, a person becomes ashamed. So a person may think that even though it's the last hour of Yom Kippur, I've been doing great until now. I was fasting. I didn't have leather shoes on. I was in shul. I had my machzer, and I was praying to Hashem, and I actually felt like maybe I was getting somewhere. Maybe I was coming close to Hashem. Maybe something was moving. Maybe something was happening. And now all of a sudden I have this totally inappropriate, filthy, dirty, disgusting thought that makes me feel like I practically need a shower. Embarrassing. It must be every prayer that I said on Yom Kippur up till now and all the 25 plus hours of fasting were worthless, were meaningless, were nothing. A person may feel that way. It doesn't mean it's true, but a person may feel that way. That everything I did, all the fasting and all the praying was a waste, was in vain. It was a sham. I'm like a liar. I'm a fake. I'm a phony. A person may feel that way. Then that's going to lead a person, God forbid, to fall into a state of despair. That's worthless. But what's the point? What's the point? I was praying. I was fasting. I was doing everything right. I was doing everything right on Yom Kippur. What a joke. I'm such a loser. It was all a sham. I'm a liar. I'm a phony. That's how a person may feel. So the Alter Rebbe and Tanya is going to teach us the following. And this is the life advice. May I be so bold as to say life-changing advice for dealing with adversity, for dealing with challenges, for dealing with struggles. And that is, don't be discouraged. Remain buoyant. You've got to float above the water. You got to keep your head above the water. You got to float. And he's going to tell us now how to do that. He's going to tell us now how to stay above water, how to remain buoyant, how to remain encouraged, and how not to lose focus. And this is as follows. Despite the fact that I may feel like everything good that I've done is a sham, a waste. Don't get discouraged. Don't get discouraged. Should we say it a third time? Yeah. Don't get discouraged. It's all, thank you. You have to say this to yourself every single day because life ain't easy. That's the fourth time. Don't get discouraged. Thank you. Don't let yourself fall down. Don't let it happen. Not only, says the Alter Rebbe, author of the Tanya, not only should we not get discouraged, not only should we not fall into a state of depression or sadness or an inability to move forward, an inability to go on, God forbid. So not only should we not fall down and feel saddened, but actually it's the opposite. A little bit like we spoke about last week. What should I do? I should sing. I should rejoice. I should be happy that I am right now struggling and about to fall. I should be happy that right now I am facing a battle the likes of which I've never faced. And as far as I'm concerned, humanity has never faced such a battle like I'm facing right now. I should break out into song and dance and rejoice. Why? As follows. I have to actually strengthen myself to focus even more on my prayer, to focus even more on my Torah, to focus even more on the good deeds and the positive things that I'm doing. I have to focus and buckle down even more with greater joy, with greater simcha, with greater devotion, with greater passion. How can I do that? If the bottom line is I'm struggling, I feel like I'm about to go under, God forbid. How can I strengthen myself? Take the following to heart. In plain English, I will always have an inner struggle. That is the human condition. I will always have an inner struggle. I will never overcome my inner demons, if you will. I will always have something inside of me saying, you can't do it. Always. No matter how successful I am, no matter how strong I am, there will always be a voice telling me that actually I'm a liar. I'm a fake. I'm a poser. You ever heard of imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
There's always going to be the voice, you think you're a leader? You're not. And deep down, you're going to say, yeah, it's true. I really am a nothing. That's always going to be there. So don't try to get rid of it because that's a mission. You're setting yourself up for failure. Rather, let's go now with an analogy of sports, wrestling in particular, the Alter brings us. They say Hasidic Jews don't play sports. I don't know. He gives now an analogy from sports right here. It's known when you have two people in a wrestling match, two people fighting the battle royale, a cage match, no holds barred. When one of those guys, one of the boxers or wrestlers or whatever, starts to overcome and starts to lead towards victory, what does the other guy do? Does he give up? No, he doesn't give up. What does he do? Yeah. That he doesn't do, because that's not possible. What does he do? When one of the opponents feels that he's now about to get pinned to the mat, he does everything that he can. He pulls out every weapon in his arsenal to not allow himself to lose. So he fights back even stronger, meaning that when you see your opponent is pulling out all the stops, what does that actually mean? It means you're winning. And your opponent is freaking out. Oh my gosh, I'm about to lose. I better do everything I can not to lose to this guy. So if your opponent is doing everything, if your Yetzer Hara, your evil inclination, is throwing every weapon he has at you, that's because you're doing great. That's because you're actually succeeding. And he gets scared that he's going to lose and get pinned to the mat. Yeah.
There are some people who give in.
There are some people who give in.
Yeah.
Right now, we're trying to learn. Don't get discouraged. Don't give in. Because actually, the very fact that you're starting to feel like your opponent is fighting back stronger than ever is just an indication that you're actually on the verge of victory. You're about to round the corner and achieve victory. That makes sense? So some people do give up, but we're trying to not be the people who give up. And therefore, he says, so if you are trying to pray and you have nothing distracting, you know what that means? Don't quote me on this one, although it's being recorded and live streamed. You know what it means if you're trying to pray and you ain't got no distractions and nothing is pulling your attention? You know what it means? It means you're not even praying. It means you're not even doing anything. You're just like reading words. You're not even doing anything. How do you ride a bike fast? You pedal hard, right? What happens when you pedal hard?
Go faster.
Yeah, but how do you go faster? There has to be more friction between the tires and the pavement. The more friction there is, the faster you go and the farther you go. So if you're having smooth sailing, that means that you're not really going very fast or very far. But when it's tumultuous, when there's lots of distractions during prayer, for example, that's an indication that you're actually getting somewhere, that there's traction, and therefore your Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, gets scared. Uh-oh, this guy who I'm supposed to not allow to do Torah, not allowed to do mitzvot, is making some headway. I better fight him stronger than I was before. It's like the guy who thinks he's about to lose the wrestling match, so he pulls out all the stops to try to knock you down. Oh, he's fighting back harder? That's because you're doing well. So on the other hand, if you're praying and the distractions don't stop and you cannot focus and boom, 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 and we're going to get to 1 second, and every crazy thought is entering your mind, that's a good sign. It means you're actually getting somewhere. You're actually starting to pray. There's traction. You're making, yeah.
How do you know that it's him fighting back harder because you're winning and not you fighting back worse, which makes it seem like he's fighting harder?
Oh, that's a good question. So the answer to that is as follows. If we, by we I mean humans, us here sitting at the table, if we were one-dimensional beings, then we would be totally in harmony, and all the qualities of our neshama would be united together. If I had one dimension, my actions would be open to one interpretation if I had one side to my persona. But we are not one-dimensional beings. We are multi-dimensional beings. And as the Tanya discusses, which we didn't discuss in this part of GPS for the Soul, part 2, this was a discussion with GPS for the Soul, part 1, I believe, that we have two souls. As it teaches in Kabbalah, we have two souls. We have an animalistic soul, and we have a godly soul. And that's why I could be acting in different ways, because my actions come from different sources. So I can't fight myself per se. How do I fight myself? But that's if I'm one-dimensional. But if I'm multi-dimensional and have different personas, I have a godly soul, I have an animal soul. So then, when one side grows stronger, the other side reacts, right? It's like if, God forbid, think about it in terms of, God forbid, a person, let's say a person has a fever. What is a fever? Anybody know? I'm not a doctor. Any doctors here? Is there a doctor in the house? Okay. What is a fever? Anybody know?
It's when your body's so
Huh?
high temperature than it should.
Why does it do that? Why would your body want to reach a higher temperature than it should?
Your body goes to a higher temperature to kill the bacteria in your body that's hurting it.
Oh, so fever is actually a sign that your body's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's fighting a foreign entity that's in your body and could potentially be damaging. And the fever is this what happens when your body is healthy, actually reacting to try to fight the intruder. So fever, as unpleasant as it may be, and I don't wish it upon anybody, is actually a good sign. It's a sign that your body is fighting an infection or whatever it may be. Fever, bad. Fever, good. It depends how you look at it. So it's fighting a foreign entity. It's fighting an intruder, trying to get it out, trying to get it out. That's the shvi. You sweat and you get hot. Your body's trying to expel whatever's inside there. So really, as we struggle to intensify our prayer, as we struggle to intensify our Torah study, our mitzvot, between us and Hashem, between us and our friends and so forth, if I'm not getting anywhere, then the animal soul doesn't need to get a fever and try to fight me. But if I'm actually getting somewhere, then the animal soul starts to get scared and starts to worry, maybe I'm losing here. So he's going to fight you even harder. So when I encounter opposition, struggle, it's a sign that I'm actually getting somewhere. Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah.
So it's a good sign. That doesn't mean that it's good. It's not good if I'm having embarrassing, inappropriate, and dirty thoughts in prayer. It's not good, but it's a good sign. It's a sign that my prayer is actually starting to accomplish something. It's a sign that I'm actually starting to grow. Like there's a phrase, I don't really know what, there's growing pains, you know? I don't know what it means exactly, growing pains. I don't remember growing pains, but they say there's such a thing, right? Growing pains. I don't know if that's meant to be physical or if it's meant to be more like emotional, whatever. But you know, when you're a teenager, it's not always so easy. It is meant to be physical.
It hurts when you're psychological.
It hurts. Okay, psychological and physical, John says, whatever it is. But the point is that that's a sign that you're growing. So are growing pains good or bad? They're bad. Well, they're not bad. They're good because you're growing. Growing is positive. Growth is a good thing. So it's a good sign. The pain is not good, but it's a good sign. Yeah, you want to say that?
Pros and cons to everything.
Well, yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, but here what we're doing is saying the bad is actually shows that you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. So if you stand in shul in prayer and you're not distracted at all, then you might have to ask yourself, did I even pray? It's like if you want to lift weights, but there's no resistance to that weight. It's so light that there's no resistance. I mean, I guess it's better than doing nothing, but not much better than doing nothing. Right? A personal trainer is going to tell you, listen, you're past the 1 pound dumbbells already. Maybe up it to 2 pound dumbbells. Get a little bit of resistance, at least a little bit of resistance going, right? Why? Because what's the resistance do? The resistance builds strength. So when you feel the resistance, that shows, that's a proof that you're actually getting somewhere. You're doing what you need to be doing because you feel the resistance. How do you go faster on a bike? You pedal harder. How does that make you go faster? Because there's more resistance between the tire, the rubber, and the pavement. The resistance propels you forward. If the pavement was smooth and the tire was smooth, it would just spin. You get nowhere. No resistance. There's got to be that point of tension. So the tension, while not always enjoyable, not always fun, is a sign that you're actually getting somewhere. And that's the way it is spiritually speaking. So the very fact that I have inappropriate thoughts during prayer or when I'm trying to do something positive might be a bad sign if I was one-dimensional. If everything came from one place, then bad thoughts would be a bad sign. But I'm not one-dimensional. I'm multi-dimensional. People are complicated. People have a lot going on inside of them. Everyone's nodding. Yeah, I know. People are complicated. Yeah. We're complicated. Relationships are complicated. Why are relationships complicated, by the way? Because people are complicated. That's why. It's not rocket science, right? So we have to know for ourselves and for others. Relationships are complicated because the other person is also complicated. They're also multidimensional, just like I am. So when I have inappropriate thoughts, it's not all coming from one place. It's coming from different places. So the fact that I have negative thoughts, dirty thoughts at a holy time, even like Yom Kippur, that's coming from the negative side within me. And the only reason it's coming is because I'm actually gaining strength. Like in the analogy, the sports analogy of the boxing match or the wrestling match. When one guy starts to be victorious, and starts to overcome, the other guy fights back even harder than before. So this is the refocus, the different perspective on those struggles, on those challenges that we all, which are natural to experience those challenges of growth, the so-called growing pains. But we have to know that the fact that I'm in the middle of a challenge means that something good is happening. Questions or comments? So when we encounter those challenges, when you feel that opponent, that boxing match, feel Mike Tyson coming at you. He was like a person in the 80s. You know who Mike Tyson is. When you feel him coming at you like fast and furious, you should say, I know why you're coming at me, because I'm actually making headway, because I'm actually doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm succeeding. And that's why you're attacking even harder. It's like at the end of a sports game, whichever team is leading, the other team is going to do everything crazy that they never tried before to try to catch up, to try to overcome them. So it's all a good indication, because we have multiple forces within us that are battling one against the other, and we will never overcome the opposing forces within us. They'll always be there. It's just part of being a person. So I shouldn't think that just because I had a dirty thought, so to speak, on Yom Kippur at Ne'ilah, maybe not even so to speak, maybe I really did. I shouldn't think that everything I did before that was in vain, that I'm a liar, I'm a poser, imposter syndrome. No, it's actually the opposite. I'm real. I'm so real. And that's why I had this, because again, multidimensional personality. That's why I had these challenges, because the other side, the side of negativity, sees that I'm getting somewhere, I'm making headway. By the way, what's the Torah reading at the Mincha service on Yom Kippur in the afternoon? Almost the height of Yom Kippur is about illegal sexual relationships. Like, come on, who thinks about that on Yom Kippur? The rabbis are like, you know what I want you to read about on Yom Kippur, at the height of Yom Kippur? Illicit sexual relationships. Who thinks about? The rabbis were so realistic. They were so real, so practical. I know you might think about it. If you do, it's a good sign. Not that it's good, but it means that your prayer is actually accomplishing something. You're feeling the tension, you're feeling the growth, the growing pain, so to speak. So this should help us and lend to us encouragement, rather than feeling down, rather than feeling like everything I tried to do up until now was a sham, a scam. It's like my kids like to say things are scam. My 15-year-old son, he likes to say sushi is a scam. Right? That's what he says. Anybody agree? Sushi is a scam.
Why? So you get such little for the amount that you pay.
Yeah, and not only do you get so little for what you pay, but if you eat an entire tray, you're still hungry. It's a scam.
Yeah.
So anyway, we should know it. I'm not a scam. I'm not a scam. I'm not a poser. There's no imposter syndrome. I am a leader. I am succeeding. And when I encounter the challenges, the bumps along the road, that's because I'm succeeding. And this is what should lend us encouragement, not to give up, God forbid, to go forward, to continue to press on with simcha. Questions? Is that a hand? No? Questions, comments, anyone? Yeah, please.
What do you say, like, it sounds like in this conversation, thoughts are kind of divided into two categories, which are bad thoughts or good thoughts, but what do you say about all the middle ground there? I mean, you said that then you shouldn't think your thoughts are from a good place, but what about things that, I just feel like there's lots of middle ground where it can be things that might be classified as bad thoughts, but coming from a good place, like then that you can think about it more than it is good. What do you think?
So that's a great question. That's a great question. So first of all, I'm not sure how bad thoughts would come from a good place. I'm not sure. So maybe we could discuss that. But for starters, as follows. In the language of the Tanya, in the genre of Jewish mysticism, which is the genre that we're discussing in GPS for the Soul, right? This is not a halachic genre. This is a genre of mysticism. Everything in the entire world fits into one of two categories. Good, and by good I mean holiness, or not. Again, everything in the world can be divided into one of two categories. It's holy or it's not holy. So, the cup of tea that I just finished, holy or not holy? Not holy, it's a cup of tea. Is it bad? No, it's a cup of tea. It's not bad either. Is it a sin? No, it's not. Is it dirty? No, it's just a cup of tea. But it's not holy. So, in the realm of not holy, you got a whole spectrum. You got a whole big spectrum. Anywhere from my cup of tea, very innocent little mint tea over here, anywhere from the mint tea all the way down to eating pig on Yom Kippur, God forbid. Murder, rape, or whatever, God forbid it may be. And that all fits in the category of not holy. This is the view of the mystics I'm talking about, the view of the Kabbalists. Again, so either it's holy or it's not holy, and not holy is a huge spectrum. So perhaps that's where your question can be addressed. That I may have thoughts that are holy. I want to give tzedakah. I want to give a charity. That is a holy thought. Then I may have thought, I want to eat a cookie. I want to drink my tea. That's not holy. Is it bad? No, it just is what it is. Or I may have a thought that I want to insert random not good thing over here, right? I want to do such and such on Yom Kippur at Ne'ilah, whatever. That might be unholy in a very like coarse, dirty, filthy, inappropriate, shameful manner. So my in-between thoughts, if you will, actually, according to the Kabbalists, fit in the category of not holy. That doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they're not holy. Now, I could elevate them easily. I could transfer them to the side of holiness. My cup of tea, which is not holy, if I recite a blessing and drink it while I'm giving a class on the Tanya and we're learning Torah together, I just brought this from the side of non-holiness and I brought it over to the side of holiness. Now, this cup of tea, my friends, became holy. Thanks to me and thanks to you for being the participants in this Tanya class. So some thoughts also may be very positive. Maybe let's call them neutral. I might have a neutral thought about I want to drink tea. That's not holy. But then maybe I will pull it over. I'll schlep it like the bag says to schlep. I'll schlep it over to holiness by saying I'm going to drink the tea, and that's going to give me the little bit of focus and an energy to do a mitzvah, to help my friend or whatever. Same. So those are the two categories. Does that address your question a little bit?
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so life-changing advice, just my opinion, about dealing with life struggles. The struggles are the sign that you're making headway, that you're growing. When you go to the gym and you work out, and the next day you feel the burn, that's great. That's great. That means you did something in the gym. If you went to the gym, come home, you feel exactly the same, then you didn't do anything. So the feeling of pain, if you will, the feeling of struggle of, it's so intense, that's good. It's good. And don't get discouraged, because that just means you're literally on the verge, on the precipice of new growth like you never imagined was even possible. So hopefully, God willing, we'll all be able to experience the growth without the challenges, without the struggles, without feeling down, without feeling like Mike Tyson's coming at me with a 1-2 knockout punch. I shouldn't have to experience that. We should have the growth without it. And thank you, everyone, for joining the GPS for the Soul Part 2. And to be continued, a reminder about the Hanukkah menorah lighting, not Monday, but the Monday after that, December 15th, 5 o'clock. So same time right here. We're going to have food and menorah lighting and fun and all sorts of good stuff. Please, everyone, do join, and to be continued.
Glad to move.